It doesn't start when everything feels right. It doesn't begin when you're motivated or when life clears the path. Discipline starts when you decide you're done waiting. It starts in silence, in moments where no one's watching, when the excitement fades, when the rewards are far, and when the pressure is real. That's when discipline steps in. Not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. And that promise, that's what builds you. That's what separates the people who hope from the people who become. You don't rise by chance. You rise by design. And the tool that draws that design, that carves it into the surface of your life, is discipline. You don't need luck. You don't need talent. Those are bonuses. What you need is the ability to do what matters, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Discipline is the decision to get up when you said you would. It's saying no when you're tempted to give in. It's showing up fully, even when nobody claps for you, and putting in the work that no one sees. Not for applause, not for approval, but because it's who you are. You can't fake discipline. You either have it or you train it until it becomes the core of how you live. The most successful people in the world, they're not always the smartest, not always the fastest, not even the strongest, but they're consistent. They've learned how to honor their commitments after the feeling of wanting to fades. They do the small things, the boring things, the unglamorous things, day after day, because they understand that mastery isn't a moment. It's a decision repeated so many times, it becomes your nature. Discipline is how you take control back. Life won't always be fair. The world won't always support you. People may doubt you, discourage you, try to make you believe you're not enough. But discipline, that's yours. No one can give it to you. No one can take it away. It's the one thing you can build. No matter what's happening around you, start with one thing, one habit, one area where you've been letting yourself slide. Be honest about it. Call it out, not to feel ashamed, but to take responsibility. That's the foundation. Without ownership, nothing sticks. Without ownership, motivation becomes noise. But when you own your time, your choices, your standards, that's when things start to move. Discipline is what you do when the excuse shows up. It's your response when the temptation gets loud. It's what keeps you moving when comfort calls your name. And it always does. Comfort will always whisper reasons to delay, to wait, to settle. Discipline silences that voice. Not by force, but by choice. Because comfort doesn't create greatness. Consistency does. Your body might be tired. Your mind might be scattered. Your emotions might push you in all directions. But you can still move. You can still focus. You can still do what's required. That's discipline. Not feeling strong, but acting strong. It's not about never struggling. It's about pushing forward in the middle of the struggle, because you know where you're going. You know who you're becoming. Discipline doesn't just shape your actions. It sharpens your mind. It clears the fog. When you follow through, your mind starts to trust you. You become someone who doesn't just wish or talk. You become someone who lives in alignment. That self-trust is rare. But when you build it, everything changes. You stop needing validation. You stop chasing quick rewards. You start playing the long game. And that's where real power lives. People wait for clarity, for purpose, for the right season. But the truth is, clarity comes after action, not before. You don't get to see the full path before you walk it. You take the step, you follow through, you do the work. And step by step, the vision reveals itself. That's why discipline is so important. It keeps you walking when the path is still hidden. It keeps you believing when doubt tries to take the wheel. If you only move when it feels easy, you'll never get far. Growth lives in resistance. Strength is born in repetition. Discipline is that steady hand that keeps you grounded when your emotions try to take over. It gives you control. It gives you freedom. Because real freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you feel like. It comes from doing what's right, even when it's hard. Look at your life. Look at the areas where you've slipped. Be honest. No sugarcoating. Are you eating like someone who respects their health? Are you working like someone who values their future? Are you speaking like someone who leads themselves well? It's not about shame. It's about clarity. It's about standards. When you raise your standards, discipline becomes the tool that protects them. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about being in control. That's what separates the weak from the strong. Not genetics, not background, not potential, control. The ones who can delay what they want now for something greater later. Those are the people who rise. They don't depend on how they feel. They depend on what they've decided. And when that decision is backed by discipline, they become unstoppable. Discipline touches every part of your life. How you eat, how you think, how you speak, how you show up for others, how you move through pressure, how you lead yourself. It's not just a habit, it's your armor. It protects your values, your goals, your dreams. Without it, you leave your life to chance. But with it, you build a foundation that can't be shaken. Every morning you face a choice, comfort or growth. You don't get both. And the difference is made in what you choose when no one's around. That's the moment that defines you. Not the speech, not the praise, but the quiet commitment to keep your word, to hold the line, to stay on course when no one would blame you for falling off. That's what builds strength that lasts. You want to transform your life? You want to change how you feel, how you look, how you think, how you perform. Start with discipline, because every transformation begins with a decision to act differently, to live differently, and no motivation, no coach, no book can do that for you. You have to choose it. Every day, every hour, every moment. You don't need to move mountains today. You just need to move forward. One rep, one call, one page, one better choice. Stack those wins. Build momentum. You'll feel resistance. That's normal. You'll want to quit. That's expected. But that's where growth is hiding. It doesn't show up when things are easy. It shows up when you push through anyway. Discipline rewires your brain. It teaches you that you're not your feelings. You're not your urges. You're not your past. You're the actions you repeat. You're the choices you make, even when they don't feel good. And once you start living that way, you gain something most people never touch: power over yourself. That's real strength. That's real success. Stay locked in. Stay focused. Stay clear. You're not doing this to impress anyone. You're doing it to meet the future version of yourself. The one who didn't quit. The one who kept going when it got hard. The one who built something that mattered. Every day you're either feeding that future or starving it. Discipline decides which. And here's what most people miss. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's not a cage. It's a gift. It's a key that unlocks the life you want. You think freedom is doing what you want. But real freedom is having the power to do what you must, even when you don't feel like it. That's how you break chains. That's how you build a life that's strong, stable, and yours. This world is full of distractions, temptations, comforts, and all of them are designed to pull you off track. But you don't have to let them. You can choose focus. You can choose effort. You can choose the long road. Because the long road builds people who last. People who don't just achieve, they become. The clock's ticking. Not in a scary way, but in a real way. Every day is either an investment or a withdrawal. And you don't get to stand still. You're either rising or falling, growing or shrinking, strengthening or weakening. Discipline is what keeps you rising, steady, strong, and prepared for whatever life throws at you. The path isn't always exciting. It's not always loud. It's often lonely. But it's always worth it. Because when you look back, what you'll remember isn't the times it was easy. It's the times you showed up when it was hard. The moments you pushed through doubt. The days you didn't want to, but did it anyway. That's what shapes your character. That's what builds pride that doesn't fade. Discipline doesn't guarantee comfort, but it guarantees growth. It guarantees strength. It guarantees that no matter what comes, you won't fold. You'll face it. You'll adapt. You'll keep moving. Because you've trained yourself not to wait for easy, but to lean into effort. And that kind of strength, that kind of character, it lasts, it echoes, it inspires, and it can't be taken from you. Not by failure, not by criticism, not even by defeat. Because even in loss, discipline keeps you grounded. Even in setbacks, it keeps you climbing. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't wait. Don't hope for someone to save you. Be the one who shows up. Be the one who holds the standard. Be the one who keeps rising. Not because life is easy, but because you're disciplined enough to make progress anyway. The real work begins when the feelings fade. That's the test. That's where most people fold. They start strong, full of energy, full of intention, but when the rush dies out and reality sets in, they drift. You see, anyone can start. Starting is easy, but finishing is where discipline is forged. It's where character is revealed. It's not about intensity once in a while. It's about consistency every day. The kind of consistency that shows up when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when no one's clapping. That's what separates the talkers from the doers. You can't build a meaningful life on good days alone. You build it on every day. On the early mornings, when it would be easier to stay in bed. On the late nights, when your mind tells you it's okay to coast. On the days you feel invisible, unmotivated, misunderstood, but you still show up. Because your life isn't built by what you feel. It's built by what you do. You want peace? Earn it through discipline. You want confidence? Build it through discipline. You want purpose, control, clarity. It doesn't come from wishing. It comes from work. From deciding what kind of person you want to be, and then living like it. Not when it's convenient, not when people are watching, but always. You don't need a dramatic story. You don't need a huge event to turn it all around. All you need is one clear decision, one moment of truth, where you say, enough. I'm done negotiating with weakness. I'm done trading what I want most for what's easy now. That's when things begin to change. That's the spark. And if you guard it, if you feed it, it turns into fire. You've got more in you. That voice that tells you to stop, to slow down, to make it easier, that's not the voice of your potential. That's the voice of your past, of your old patterns. You can ignore it, you can rise above it. You can choose discipline. And every time you do, you rewrite your story. You teach yourself that your standards are higher than your excuses, that your goals are more important than your urges. The real rewards don't come from shortcuts. They don't come from hacks. They come from patience, from structure, from the slow, quiet, unglamorous climb. That's what most people don't want to hear, because we live in a world that sells fast results. But fast doesn't last. Fast burns out. Discipline, that lasts. That scales. That holds up when life throws storms your way. Don't just chase goals. Build systems. Build routines that make discipline automatic. Take the decision-making out of your day by designing your life around the habits that move you forward. Set your alarm. Lay out your clothes. Plan your meals. Block your time. Make it so simple, so obvious, that you don't rely on willpower. You rely on structure, because willpower fades. Systems don't. And don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't waste your life trying to figure out the best way to start. Start now. Make mistakes. Adjust as you go. Discipline grows through action, not contemplation. The longer you wait, the heavier the resistance gets. But once you begin, really begin, the resistance starts to break, not all at once, but piece by piece, step by step. There's power in doing hard things, power in denying the easy path. Every time you choose discipline, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who follows through, someone who can be trusted. And when you trust yourself, you stop second-guessing. You stop overthinking. You just move. You execute. That's what it takes. Most people waste years stuck in cycles. Start, stop, try, quit. They never build momentum because they never stick with anything long enough to let it pay off. But you can be different. You can stay the course. You can break the pattern. And it starts by mastering the most basic commitment, doing what you said you would do. There's dignity in discipline. Even if no one sees it, even if no one rewards it, there's something pure about knowing you push through for no other reason than you said you would. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about building strength, quiet strength. The kind that shows up in how you walk, how you speak, how you treat people, because you know what you've been through. You know what you've endured. Stop giving yourself an out. Stop negotiating with your lesser self. If you said today is a training day, then it's a training day. If you said no more junk food, then that's the standard. Not maybe, not sometimes. Always. Discipline means removing the gray area. It's yes or no, in or out, show up or don't. But if you show up, go all in, you'll lose people on the way. That's normal. Discipline makes you different, and not everyone wants to be different. Some people will try to pull you back, not because they hate you, but because your discipline reminds them of what they're not doing. Stay focused. Don't dim your fire to make others comfortable. The people who are meant for your life will respect your standards, not resent them. And when you fall short, because you will, don't hide. Don't spiral. Own it. Reset. Get back to the plan. The goal isn't to never fail. The goal is to fail better each time. Faster, with more awareness, more resolve. Discipline isn't about being flawless. It's about being unshakable, about building a mindset that gets stronger every time it's tested. You already know what you need to do. The problem isn't knowledge, it's execution. Stop collecting advice. Start applying it. Most breakthroughs don't come from new information. They come from new behavior, from finally doing what you've been avoiding, from cutting the excuses and choosing growth over comfort. Discipline is the bridge between potential and results. You can have all the gifts in the world, but if you don't apply them, they rot. Wasted potential is everywhere. Don't be another example. Don't be the person who could have, be the one who did. Be the one who made a decision, stuck with it, and changed their life because of it. You won't always feel like it. That's the truth. But feelings are temporary. Regret lasts, and discipline, that gives you a life with fewer regrets, because it gives you a life built on effort, not avoidance, on courage, not comfort, on values, not urges. And when you live that way long enough, something shifts. Discipline stops feeling like a chore. It becomes your identity. It becomes your edge. While others are stuck in cycles of delay and distraction, you move, you rise, you build. And that compound effect, over months, years, it changes everything. So ask yourself today, and every day after this, who am I becoming by the choices I make right now? What does my routine say about my values? Am I chasing results, or becoming someone worthy of those results? The answers will tell you the truth. And if you don't like the truth, good. That's your invitation to change, to level up, to lock in and take back control. Because in the end, the most powerful life you can build isn't one that looks impressive. It's one that's aligned with who you want to be. And discipline is the tool that gets you there. Quiet, steady, unshakable. Keep going. You've just scratched the surface. Every time you follow through, even when it's inconvenient, you're reinforcing a message to your future self. I can count on me. That's what builds internal power. Not motivation, not hype, but reliability. That quiet confidence that comes from doing what you promised, again and again, even when no one else is watching. And that's what most people are missing. They've trained themselves to chase comfort, to quit when it's hard, to justify slacking off with words that sound reasonable but kill progress. They say things like, I'll start tomorrow, or I deserve a break, or this one time won't hurt. But it does hurt. It weakens something in you. It tells your subconscious, we don't finish what we start. That's how people lose trust in themselves. Not all at once, but one skipped commitment at a time. If you want to feel proud of your life, make your habits match your vision. Don't just dream. Discipline. Don't just want, work. It's not enough to want more. You have to build the habits that make more possible. There's no shortcut to it, no quick fix. It's the same truth it's always been. Decide who you want to be, and prove it in your actions. The truth is, every choice you make is a vote for the person you're becoming. So the question is, who are you voting for? The strong version of you, or the weaker one? The disciplined version, or the one that always needs to be rescued? The version that builds or the one that breaks under pressure? You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to stop breaking promises to yourself. Start there. Start with one. One morning where you get up when you said you would. One workout you complete without quitting halfway. One meal you eat clean because it aligns with your goals. And once you do that, do it again and again. Let the repetition shape you. Let the commitment harden your mind. That's how you grow. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the highest form of self-respect. It's saying, I deserve a life that reflects my effort. I deserve results that match my potential. And the only way you get those things is by showing up when it's hard. Not once, not for a week, but over and over until it becomes who you are. You want freedom, earn it through structure. You want peace of mind, build it with your habits. Chaos disappears when your life is built on a foundation of discipline. When your days are clear, your actions are intentional. Your goals are backed by effort. That's when you feel centered. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And make no mistake, discipline will stretch you. It will demand more from you than anything else. But it will also reward you in ways comfort never could. It will give you results. It will give you pride. It will give you a quiet confidence that money can't buy. A knowing, deep in your core, that no matter what life throws at you, you won't fold. You won't break. Because you've built yourself from the inside out. This is about more than success. It's about self-respect. When you know you've done the work, when you've put in the hours, when you've pushed through the resistance, you walk differently. You speak with more weight. You stop chasing validation because you're already living in alignment with who you said you'd become. No one is going to hand you that feeling. You earn it every day, every hour, by doing what others won't, by choosing what's right over what's easy, by building the kind of life that doesn't require hype or applause because it's solid, built on truth, on effort, on consistency. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need someone to light a fire under you. You need to stop waiting, stop stalling, stop acting like you've got unlimited time, because you don't. You've got right now. And what you do with it defines everything that comes next. You've seen what undisciplined living gets you. The frustration, the guilt, the shame of knowing you're capable of more, but settling for less. That version of life is over. You're not here to coast. You're here to create, to build, to lead yourself with power. And the only way you do that is by owning your time, owning your choices, owning your life. Every excuse you tell yourself is stealing from your future. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you're pushing the life you want further away. But every time you choose discipline, even in small ways, you bring it closer. One rep, one task, 1 hour of focused effort. That's all it takes to start the shift. There's no magic formula, just hard work, daily effort, a mindset that doesn't flinch when it's time to act, a vision so strong it pulls you through discomfort. That's what changes everything. Not talent, not luck, not motivation, just relentless discipline. And remember this, you're not supposed to enjoy every moment. This isn't about liking the process all the time. It's about respecting it, trusting it, showing up for it. Because the real rewards don't show up until much later. But when they do, when you finally look around and see what you've built, you'll know it was worth it. Every sacrifice, every early morning, every moment you chose strength over weakness. This is your edge, your superpower. Most people won't do it, but you're not most people. You're not here to repeat the cycle. You're here to break it, to build a future that makes you proud, because you earned it. Not by chance, not by luck, but by choice. Keep going, keep building, keep showing up. Discipline isn't just something you practice, it's something you become. And once you become it, you can't be stopped. Because once discipline becomes who you are, everything else starts falling into place. You no longer need to force yourself out of bed. You rise because it's part of your nature. You don't need to drag yourself through your goals. You chase them with clarity. You stop arguing with your own mind because your identity is no longer split between who you are and who you're pretending to be. That's what most people never realize. They think discipline is a chore, a burden, but it's actually freedom. It simplifies your life. You don't have to decide every morning whether you feel like working out. You work out because it's what you do. You don't have to negotiate with yourself about your goals. You go after them because that's who you are. Your standards eliminate the chaos. There's a peace that comes when your actions match your values, a calm strength, a kind of power that doesn't need to yell to be heard. That's the reward of living with discipline. It removes regret. It removes guilt. It removes confusion. You know where you're going. You know how to get there. And more importantly, you trust yourself to do the work, no matter how you feel. And the truth is, you're not always going to feel like it. Some days your motivation will be low. Your body will feel heavy. Your mind will resist. but those are the days that shape you the most. Anybody can be consistent when it's easy. What defines your growth is how you show up when it's not. Discipline teaches you to keep going, even when the feeling is gone. To keep building, even when no one notices. To keep showing up, even when progress feels slow. Because you know that consistency always wins. Not immediately, but eventually. Think about the people you admire. The ones who seem to radiate strength, who carry themselves with quiet authority. You'll find one thing in common. They didn't get there by accident. They built themselves brick by brick. They made hard choices when it was inconvenient. They said no to distractions when no one was watching. They kept moving forward when it would have been easier to stop. And that's the road in front of you. No shortcuts, no secrets, just choices. Every day you decide whether to rise or to stay the same, whether to push or to pause, whether to build or to break. And those choices, stacked over time, become your life. You've got to be hungry for your potential. You've got to want more than a good idea. You've got to crave the follow-through. Ideas are cheap, execution is rare, and discipline is the bridge between what you want and what you get. Most people live in cycles. Start something, get excited, lose steam, quit, feel guilty, start again. But you're not here to live in loops. You're here to break free, to live with intention, to build momentum and keep it going, to become the kind of person who doesn't just chase greatness, but creates it. And to do that, you need to stop asking for the easy way. Stop hoping someone will save you. Stop wishing for things to get better without effort. Take full ownership. Own your mornings. Own your decisions. Own your work ethic. Own your results. Because the moment you do, something shifts. You stop waiting. You start acting. You stop blaming. You start creating. You stop doubting. You start believing. And it's not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. Showing up even when you're tired. Getting better even when it's slow. Sticking to the plan even when your emotions want to quit. Discipline trains you to lead yourself. That's what makes you unstoppable. You no longer rely on circumstances. You create your own. You don't depend on energy. You generate it. You don't chase approval. You approve of yourself through your actions. And it's not just about achieving success. It's about who you become in the process. Discipline makes you sharper, stronger, more focused. It makes you trustworthy, reliable, respected. It gives you a spine of steel and a mind like a blade. It turns you into someone you're proud of when you look in the mirror. Not because everything is perfect, but because you didn't give up. You didn't fold when it got hard. You didn't let comfort rob you of your future. You stayed in the fight. You kept climbing. You chose the path of effort, not ease. And that choice will define the rest of your life. You want your life to change. Then raise your standards. Set the bar so high that the old you can't reach it. Let your future self look back and say thank you for not giving in. Thank you for staying strong. Thank you for not quitting when it would have been easier. That's what matters. Not how fast you go, not how flashy it looks, but that you keep showing up, that you keep laying the bricks, that you stay loyal to your vision, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, even when no one else sees it. Because in the end, discipline is everything. It's the difference between potential and power, between wishing and winning, between regret and pride. And once you truly understand that, you'll never want to live any other way again. Because once you taste the strength that comes from discipline, once you feel the power of doing what you said you'd do, something in you changes forever. You stop settling for average. You stop tolerating delay. You stop entertaining the version of you that just wants to coast. And instead you start leading yourself towards something better, something real, something earned. Most people wait for a feeling before they act. They want to feel ready. They want to feel inspired. But feelings are unreliable. They come and go like the weather. Discipline is what keeps you moving through the storm. It's what grounds you when motivation disappears. When you're tired, when you're doubting, when you're frustrated. Discipline holds the line. It reminds you that effort comes first, that the feeling comes later, and that's when you begin to take control. When you act regardless of your mood. When you train your body and your mind to listen to your decisions, not your emotions. Most people are led by their moods. They wake up and check how they feel. And if it's not good, they move slower, think smaller, and expect less. But those who master discipline don't operate that way. They lead their energy. They decide how they're going to show up. They live by standards, not by feelings. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's not always exciting, but it's always effective. One day, one task, one focused hour at a time. And when you stack enough of those hours, days, and weeks together, your life looks completely different. That's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who stay stuck. The ones who are willing to do the unsexy things, the early wake-ups, the late-night learning, the sacrifices that don't make sense to others. The moments where you choose the work over the comfort, the focus over the distraction, the progress over the pleasure. You've got to get honest with yourself. Where are you letting yourself off the hook? Where are you allowing softness to creep in? Where are you making room for excuses instead of results? That's the inventory you need to take if you want to grow. Not from a place of guilt, but from a place of responsibility. Because nothing will change until you do. Discipline doesn't mean being harsh with yourself. It means being committed. It means doing the things that align with your future, even when they're hard, even when they're boring, even when nobody claps for you. Because your goals deserve more than a half effort. Your potential deserves more than a 1-week sprint. It deserves your full presence, your full attention, your full work ethic. And when you give it that, when you give it your best without conditions, you build something inside you that no one can take away. Confidence. Confidence that isn't based on hype or compliments or validation. Confidence that's earned. Confidence that comes from doing the work every single day, whether the world notices or not. That kind of confidence changes your posture. It changes how you walk into a room. You don't need to prove yourself. You just live it. You don't need to beg for opportunity. You're already ready when it shows up, because you've done the preparation. You've trained, you've endured, and you're still standing. That's why discipline matters. It's not about punishment. It's about preparation. It's about building something real inside of you. The kind of person who can handle more, who can carry more weight, who can serve more, lead more, create more, inspire more, because you've mastered yourself first. And it starts with the smallest decisions. What you eat, how you speak, when you wake up, how long you scroll, what you allow into your mind. You don't need a full transformation overnight. You just need to start stacking disciplined choices. And then keep stacking. Every time you do the hard thing when the easy thing was available, you win. Every time you choose focus over comfort, you win. Every time you move forward, when your mind says stop, you win. Stack enough wins, and your identity changes. You're no longer trying to become disciplined. You are disciplined. You don't need to convince yourself anymore. You believe it, because your actions prove it. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it takes time. But the reward is the life you really want. Not the fantasy, not the dream, but the real, grounded, powerful life that only comes when you show up day after day with full intention. So keep going. Keep choosing the standard over the shortcut. Keep putting in the work, even when it's quiet. Keep showing up for yourself, even when no one else claps. Because every disciplined decision is shaping your future. Every sacrifice is building your foundation. Every moment of effort is writing your story. And when you look back one day, you won't remember all the comfort you missed. You'll remember the pride you felt, the growth you earned, the power you built, and you'll realize it was always worth it. Discipline is everything. Because when it's all said and done, no one is going to hand you your dream. No one's coming to drag you out of bed and push you to greatness. No one's coming to fix your life. You have to want it enough to do it yourself, to take full ownership, to build the life you want, brick by brick, moment by moment, decision by decision. That's where discipline comes in. Not as a concept, but as a way of life. It's how you walk through the world. It's the invisible structure behind your strength, the backbone of your growth. It's the thing that keeps you steady when everything around you is uncertain. Because there will be storms, there will be setbacks, there will be days that test you, pressure you, and try to break you. But if you've built your discipline, you don't fall apart. You bend, but you don't break. You adjust, but you don't quit. You feel fear, but you keep moving anyway. That's power. When you know who you are, and you've proved it to yourself through your actions, the outside world can't shake you. You're not fragile. You're not depending on things going right to feel strong. You've trained your mind and body to show up, no matter what. That's discipline. It's unshakable. It's solid. It's real. And it changes how you face challenges. You stop avoiding discomfort. You start chasing it. Because you know growth is on the other side. You stop waiting for life to get easier. You start getting stronger. You stop playing small just to fit in. You step into your full potential. Because you've done the work to earn that space. It's not ego. It's earned. And it gives you a quiet confidence. You no longer need to talk about what you're doing. You live it. You show it. You embody it. You become the kind of person others respect, not because of what you say, but because of what you've shown. That's what happens when discipline becomes part of your identity. You stop chasing motivation. You build momentum. You stop relying on hype. You develop habits. You stop reacting. You start responding with intention. And it doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter how messy your past is or how many times you've quit before. What matters is that you decide, right now, that you're going to hold yourself to a higher standard, that you're done waiting, that you're done explaining, that you're done living below your potential. Because that version of you, the disciplined one, already exists. You don't need to invent them. You just need to reveal them. Every choice you make either hides or reveals that version. And the more you choose discipline, the more they come alive. You get to choose that today. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, discipline is not about pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's about directing your energy with purpose. It's about aligning your time, your habits, and your attention with the life you want to live. It's about saying no to what doesn't serve you, so you can say yes to what does. It's about making sacrifices, not because you hate comfort, but because you love your future more. And yes, it gets hard. Yes, you'll stumble. Yes, some days will feel like setbacks. But every time you get up, every time you stay the course, every time you refuse to quit, you're reinforcing your power. You're not weak. You're not lost. You're not behind. You just need to keep showing up. Not once in a while. Not only when it feels good. Every day. Especially when it's hard. Because every time you do, you become a little stronger. A little more focused. A little more aligned with your highest self. And that's what you're after. Not perfection, but power. The kind of power that comes from knowing you can trust yourself. That when things get tough, you won't fold. That when the pressure comes, you won't run. That when the odds feel heavy, you won't disappear. You'll rise. You'll lead. You'll endure. Because discipline taught you how to. It taught you how to silence the noise and focus on what matters. It taught you how to manage your time instead of wasting it. It taught you how to stick to a plan, even when distractions try to pull you off course. It taught you how to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And in that process, it gave you something priceless, self-respect. Not the kind that comes from being praised, the kind that comes from doing hard things when nobody's watching, from keeping promises to yourself, from proving every single day that you have what it takes. You're not just dreaming anymore. You're building. You're not just hoping. You're earning. And when you stack enough days like that, the disciplined days, the focused days, the relentless days, your entire life starts to shift. You'll start to feel proud, not in a loud way, in a deep, steady, quiet way. The kind of pride that can't be faked. The kind of pride that comes from discipline. And that pride becomes your fuel. It becomes your reminder on the days when doubt creeps in. Because now you've got proof. Proof that you can keep going. Proof that you can push through. Proof that you don't fold when it gets uncomfortable. That's what discipline builds. An inner reservoir of strength that you can draw from whenever you need it. And when life tries to knock you down, and it will, you'll have something solid to stand on. You'll remember the mornings you didn't hit snooze. You'll remember the nights you stayed focused when everyone else drifted off. You'll remember how many times you didn't quit. And that memory, that personal history of resilience, becomes a weapon. A reminder that nothing owns you. Not your circumstances. Not your past. Not your fears. See, that's the real reward of discipline. It's not just the results you get. It's the person you become. You become dependable. You become sharp. You become the kind of person who shows up with integrity, with fire, with intent. And that person, that version of you, is unstoppable. Now, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be consistent. You need to decide that your life is worth more than procrastination, that your dreams deserve more than excuses, that your time is too precious to waste on things that don't move you forward. You don't need 100 new goals. You don't need a perfect strategy. You need discipline. Discipline to wake up and do the work. Discipline to focus when your mind wants to wander. Discipline to keep your word to yourself, even when nobody's watching. And if you do that, if you stay the course, even in silence, even in discomfort, you'll change. You'll stop doubting your ability to follow through. You'll stop fearing hard work. You'll start trusting your grind. Because now you've got something real, self-discipline. And that's the foundation of every great life. It shows up in how you treat your body, in how you handle your money, in how you speak, in how you manage your time, in how you respond to pressure, in how you stay consistent when results are slow. It shows up in everything. Discipline touches every part of your life. And when you build it, everything improves. You're more reliable. You're more grounded. You're more prepared. You're more respected, not just by others, but by yourself. And when you respect yourself, you stop accepting less. You stop chasing things that drain you. You stop spending time with people who don't match your direction. You start protecting your peace. You start guarding your energy. You start moving with purpose. That's the shift. Discipline doesn't just give you results. It gives you clarity. It clears out the fog. It eliminates the noise. It sharpens your vision. You stop being distracted by what's irrelevant. You stop wasting time on things that don't push you forward. You get serious. You get focused. You get free. Because that's what real freedom is. Not doing whatever you want whenever you feel like it. Real freedom is living in alignment. It's having control over your habits, your reactions, your focus. It's knowing that you're not at the mercy of your impulses anymore. You're in charge. You get to decide what kind of day you have, what kind of life you live, what kind of legacy you leave. And it all starts with one word: discipline. Not just in the big moments, but in the daily, quiet, boring moments. The ones that don't look special. The ones no one applauds. That's where it's built. In the seconds where you choose effort over ease, focus over scrolling, progress over comfort. You do that enough times, and your entire identity